All right, so this is going to be a super like informal kind of rundown on RetroArch. I haven't made like a full-on video about this, but I've just been really messing around with it a lot lately, and I just think that having like a video on the channel kind of explaining and walking through some of the most basic things in this system will just be beneficial for people learning who are new, aren't familiar with some of this stuff. I'm not an expert in any capacity, but I've been, messing around with it and feeling like it's nice for me to get to know, and explaining it while I do it will help me understand it better. So if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers. I'm at like 27 right now, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So the main menu is the main area in this thing that you're always going to kind of find your way back to. There's another menu also that keeps popping up. It's the quick menu. Once you load one of your video games, one of your ROMs, it will pop up when you press your menu button. So sometimes it can get confusing because there's a settings and then there's video and things like that that are also able to be viewed from the quick menu. So the main menu is where you're managing your cores and all your settings for every core and every ROM that you're loading, and every input that you have on a system level, on the RetroArch level, not in an individual game or core level. But you can also, go through here and do core things too. Core options, managing your cores, downloading new cores, which are emulators. I don't know why they call it something else. Maybe they're just trying to, adjust the vocabulary so it's not so obvious what it truly is. But anyways, I did a short on importing content, but I will just kind of explain it here right now. So you want to have your file with all of your ROMs in it. Then you want to go to import content from the main menu here. Well, that's technically the main menu, but you're at like the main home screen. So you'll scan directory. If you scan a file, I figured out that it does, and then a manual scan also. Both of these I haven't figured out work very well. It's just better for me to go to my ROMs, all of these ROMs, that I could just actually go scan this directory. It'll scan all these sub files also in there and load them in there. And then there's another one here where it's like, if you have your file on a desktop, you have to go into user desktop, and then like this has my curated ROMs, the one that are actually all loaded into this one, where it's just like more minimal stuff in here. And then you just scan this directory and it'll load all of these things up into there. And so that's what we're dealing with back on the main screen here. This is the curated ROM list, the games that I really like and have intentions of playing soon. So directory, this is where your system, I know I'm in the way actually, but of the thing, but here at the system BIOS, this is an interesting issue that I came across, is that it tries to search within RetroArch to find the BIOS, but when you can adjust it to find your BIOS files, because I always keep mine with my ROMs. So like my curated ROM list has BIOS files with them, and you can use this to find those files and to set it so this directory searches your system for those specific BIOS files where you have them, not where RetroArch automatically looks for them where they're not normally there. They won't be there unless you directly put them there. So this directory allows you to not have to move the files, but move where RetroArch is searching for the BIOS files. So once that's all set, you can go through, and I actually don't know much about the net play, much about the videos, much about the images. History is cool because it could just pop in. Like we'll run this and I'll show you like a little bit of the adjusting settings. So like, let's see, I'll play Tekken, but I just want to kind of pop one up like this, specifically Beetlejuice, right? So you can go here, download thumbnails. I'm connected to the internet, obviously. So this will download the thumbnail. So now every time I pull up Beetlejuice, it has that thumbnail. Also, when you go to run it for the first time, it's going to ask you to set the core automatically. Like when I click it, it'll say set core. So setting the core is choosing which emulator or core. Again, the vocabulary change. You can just click one of these. Either one will work, but I usually use Gamate. So then you can run it. If you choose something else that isn't, like if you accidentally click it, there's a way to adjust it from the settings in that individual game. But like it gets kind of janky if you accidentally click the wrong core for this, because it'll try to fire it up, but it won't be in the correct core. So it'll cause issues. It'll just like quit out of RetroArch real quick. So you have to like press the menu real quick and get into it before it like loads it up. At least that's what I found from it. So I've kind of messed up before, but then whatever, it's not a big deal. So the core association should be Swan Station. You can add it to your favorites. So when you're over here, it'll be in your starred. Right now it's in my history. I like it in the history. It's fine. You can rename it. Yeah, like I said, download thumbnails, run through here. We'll fire it up. I'm just going to adjust a little bit of the settings just so I can kind of have more experience explaining this stuff. So it's going to fire up. Okay, so it's going to pause. Okay, so I'm going to keep it up for now. So you gotta love that sound. Nostalgia. I actually, is it even playing? It better be playing. Oh yeah, it's recording it. Okay, so you guys have audio also. And the way I have it set up, I should be able to adjust the audio on a individual basis through OBS. Because this right now looks like trash, but there's really no way to change this because these are like already pre-rendered cutscenes. So they're just gonna look like butt anyways, no matter what, even if I change settings right now. So like I'll just give a little, you know, show of this video, because this is like what you're working with the PlayStation. Like this is how it looked on a CRT. This is pre-rendered videos. It looks like trash. But then we're getting here, it's already upscaled a little bit because of the way I have RetroArch set up from that home setting. So we'll just go into like arcade mode real quick. I'll wait until we get into like an actual match, and then I'll start kind of adjusting some of this stuff. And I'm not going to be able to do a lot with the Swan Station, adding, you know, I might add like something to kind of even out the pixels and things, but it doesn't look too terrible compared to that like cutscene that we had seen. So I'll hop in here. Now we're in the quick menu. So if I go back, we're now at that main menu, this main screen here. And then this popped up now, so we can go to this wasn't here earlier, this quick menu option, because we're actually in a game now. You can access the quick menu. Then I could just go right back. So here, and then you press back and you go back to that main menu where all this stuff is. So right now, because it's open, we have the quit option, we have the restart. I can restart this, you know, ROM, restart the ROM from the start. And then we're going to go back into here, and then I'm just going to like kind of mess around. Core options, we can do manage core options. That's where you like save your individual core options to either the game or the whole content directory. So every time that it opens up, it will be there. So it already loaded those BIOS, like I said earlier. So this is running, you know, this BIOS file. So it's all good. Otherwise it would say, you know, you're missing BIOS. And then you go back to the directory, try to make sure that it's pulling from the correct stuff. I'm sure there's a setting in here that I could probably change, like the threads or whatever. No, I think it looks fine. Enhancement settings. So internal resolution, we could probably up that up. Maybe 1080. I could probably do 1440, but it might make it really, really choppy and kind of screw it up for now. This looks fine. 4x3 if I'm playing on like a so we'll see. Did this screw it up, or did it manage? Okay. So now it changed the resolution, and you guys should be seeing something that looks a lot better. It's really, really blown up for me. Okay, so I can't change that. All right, so it's looking way better on my screen, but it's also taking up a lot of the space because I don't have it in full screen because I'm recording this right now. So I'm going to core options, display settings, enhancement settings. We're going to change this back. We're going to go like 720p. just for this example, because I need to be able to see it, because it like changed the way that it was being portrayed to me. So now it should be 720p. It should look similar to what we're dealing with after the initial setup and now into this. So you can tell totally that this is upscaled resolutions. This is polygons and colors contrasting and rounded out edges. Like it looks amazing. So we're gonna pop in here, and now I would probably add like a shader. I do like a crystal clear look, a crystal clear image. I really enjoy having it like that, but sometimes having a shader will kind of make it like, I'll just show you, for example. So this has a more rounded appearance, right? And it's still looking crystal clear, but it has a little bit of that filter to kind of add up. And this is just specifically with DuckStation. So this is the PlayStation. Yeah, okay. So I'm checking how it looks on OBS there, and it looks good. You guys are seeing a really good image here on the PlayStation 1 video game. And when you look at, you compare and contrast what it did look like, it's day and night. It's day and night. So just a little bit of a setting that changed there. So now we'll just go and I'll close the content. I will get you back to the main screen. I might open up another like a Game Boy or something, a Game Boy game, because they have totally different settings for each core that you're on. So each emulator that you're using has different internal settings that you can adjust. So what I've been playing lately, like I popped on Miss Pac-Man earlier, but that's actually, for some reason, it's a Genesis game, but it popped up under my arcade game. So I think it was trying to use, I don't know, it was weird. So I didn't have the same amount of capabilities of making, you know, adaptations to it like I did with other games. So specifically like Kid Dracula, right? I love this game. Again, I downloaded the thumbnail, so the thumbnail's there. Add to favorites if you want to play it. Run it. So right now I have like the basic CRT. It's like the DMG internal palette in the settings, and I can change it to give it like full color basically. Hopefully that mouse doesn't always appear there on there for you guys. It's super unprofessional. But let's go. So like for me personally, when I play Game Boy games, I really want it to look authentic, but at the same time, it's on a giant screen right now. Like it's huge, and I usually just cast it over to my CRT that's sitting next to me, and I'll play it like at basic resolution on a CRT, and it looks fine. But like if you don't have that, you can just make this kind of into a CRT setting, and it's not going to look just like a CRT, but it's going to do something to have the effect so the pixels are not just raw and there's some sort of like color involved in this. Because when you first fire this up, like this is a preset thing that I set already to be this like green Game Boy setting. I don't know what just happened. Okay, so why is he not letting me play? I feel like this has never happened before. I'm in like a... Usually I just fire right up. Oh, here we go. Okay. So here we are. I'm in, just testing out, you know, a little Castlevania here. Let's go here. And we have core options now. So these core options are different than the ones for Swan Station. So these are all different. And then we still have the ability to do your shaders, cheats, you know, overrides and things like that. But like, which I will add a shader, but so I'll just do a shader for now. I'll do the same one that I did last time. I'll take it off but I will show you having that DMG thing and then hopping into like a CRT, like it just makes it feel, for me, this is personal preference, it makes it feel a little more manageable, a little more aesthetically pleasing. I wonder if he has, oh, he doesn't. Okay. So I'll take that off, and then I'll do like another thing where I just add, I'll just turn it off. So the video shaders are off now. Then you're going to hop in. I don't want to close the content. I want to go to core options, internal. We're going to do like Super Game Boy right now. So we can go, and it's going to make it like brown, right? So it's like, this still looks really good. The pixels are really crystal clear. Your character's pixel art is separate from the background. Like, so this is fully manageable. Like this is good, but this is, you know, the Super Game Boy instead of just the DMG. And then we're gonna go back to core options. We can just keep swapping Game Boy Color. And then I'll show you ways to save these so they're actually permanent and not just saved. I'm doing terrible, but I've been playing Dawn of Sorrow, and that game is ridiculous. So this one, now it has like full color basically. Like, you know, not full color, but each character and each like background thing has its own kind of designated palette to it. And it's really nice to have that. So then we can just do like custom, or no, it's internal. So if we want to change it, we can do internal. And then they have like all these other preset ones for internal palettes, and it'll like load up the pack each time you hit it. And I think special 1, wherever that is, special 2, this one always looks good too. Actually, that doesn't even look, that's not right. Core options, internal. Yeah, it should be internal palette, special 2. Did it even change? Oh yeah, it did. Okay. So this is like a more dialed back. So I think special 2 is very similar to the Game Boy Color, because you're looking and you see the same thing. It's the same thing as it was for the Game Boy Color. So I guess that's just a way to kind of have the Game Boy Color if you, I don't know, it's weird. So what is this, like a TI 83? What the hell is that? Oh, that looks weird. But yeah, so it's fun to just kind of like mess around. I'm gonna put it back to internal. So that's the internal resolution. It should always be, so DMG. So we're going internal and then the internal palette. So when you select internal here, it's going to give you the choice to, it's whatever you select here is going to take over. And then we can manage the core options. I could save this game option here, or I can save this for all content loaded from this directory for this Gambate emulator. So anything that goes into that emulator when you select the core, when you're starting it up, will go towards this setup that I just customized here. And then so I can save it for the game. So there you go, Kid Dracula here. And then also you can go back and then I can do the same thing with shaders. So I'll just specifically load up that shader just as an example. I know I took it on, put it off like 3 times, but I just want to show that when you load it up here, you can go to overrides and you can save your game override. So this specifically will save for this game, not the core, not the content for everything that's loaded in the core, but the game override. So, oh, nothing to save. So I guess technically the shader didn't count as that. I don't know, whatever. But when I go here, close the content, the screen's gonna pop away for a second. There it goes. Okay, so we're gonna load it back up and hopefully it has all of the things that it had on it earlier. So maybe, oh yeah, okay. So this is a good example because I didn't save the actual shader. So shader, load preset, shader, back down to the CRT, do the consumer because I really like that one. And then save preset, save game preset. So it has its individual save thing. So now it has the CRT filter with the DMG palette. And then we're gonna close the content and we're gonna run it again. And it should pop up the way that I set it up last time. So here we are. So this is really helpful because it gets confusing if you, like, even I am getting confused. I'm not an expert in any capacity here, but this is the way that I set it, and then now I save it. So you have your core options here, and then it'll say, you know, this, and then you manage your core options, you could save it. So I can remove those options, and it'll pop up when I remove it to save it again. And then you're saving that. So every time you have a setting that you change, you can individually save it here. So you load the preset. When you load it, then you go and save the preset, and then every time you quit and come back, it'll be there. So we're gonna go here, close the content. It's gonna pop off for you guys, and then it'll drop back in once I kind of click around. There we go. Okay. And then, so this video is getting super long. I'm sure I lost a ton of you guys within the first like minute, but I just appreciate anybody who's sticking around watching this just for the fun of it. So we're gonna hop in on SNES. So I already downloaded the, oh, that's a Game Boy game. Okay, so it's the same thing with this one as the last, the game that I did. I was thinking that this was the original Nintendo version, which is not. So Donkey Kong, this is Donkey Kong on the Nintendo. We'll just mess with this one then. So same thing here. I can download the thumbnails. Typically I press it twice because the first time I press it, it downloads, but then it doesn't ever show up on the right here. So I'll just click it twice. We'll run it. Same settings there. You know, you can save it to your favorites. So here we are, full color, looking solid. I'm not playing yet, I didn't press start, but okay. Now we're gonna hop in here, and these core settings are gonna be different than the Game Boy and different than the Swan Station that we were playing earlier. So these have different settings. So you can set the region, you can set if you want it to be RGB, consumer, or PAL, or composite. And I thought there was, I don't know, I guess I thought there was another one in here. Usually, I think maybe it's the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. They have RGB SCART and stuff like that. So it doesn't apply to this one. But so each emulator for each generation that you're playing has different settings for the types of TVs and things that they were using at that one point. At that point, I don't know. It's wild. So again, with this one, it doesn't seem like there's much for me to change on the way of like resolution to get this thing to look way better. Preferred aspect ratio. So it doesn't seem to be, it would just be something similar to the shaders that I did here. And we can just kind of mess with, let's do like an anti-aliasing shader, for example. So we'll do the FX AA. And then, so now that's on. And then I didn't save it, so if I quit, so this looks terrible. Like looks like it almost wants to be like cell shaded. So it's not always good to kind of add these things in here. But if I load another preset, go into anti-aliasing, do a double shader level 4, like this one might, no, this one looks horrible too. Terrible. Shader, load preset, shader. So anti-aliasing I don't think is the way in this specific. See, this one's not terrible. It's bad, but it's not terrible. I'm definitely gonna die. Okay, we got lucky there. And then he's gonna toss this thing at me. Oh, dude. All right, so this one totally doesn't look terrible. It softens everything, but it doesn't look good. It's not ideal. That isn't something that I would even mess with. But then we have so much other stuff. I think there's borders. We got handheld border. We got Game Boy handhelds, Super Game Boys, textures, ambient glows, burr. I'm trying to think of, I don't know. Can I add a handheld to this? That's weird. I don't really like that. Motion, PAL, NTSC, MAME. I'm pretty sure this adds it so it looks like it's an arcade. Yeah, this one looks more like a blurry, like an arcade kind of setup here. Yeah, interesting. So this one's pretty solid. I mean, it's blurry as hell, but it looks like an arcade cabinet that you're playing on. So like if you like that feel and then you grab your little arcade stick, it's gonna feel more like an arcade. And then if you're casting it onto something else, I don't know. Oof. Yeah, whatever. I suck at this game. It's fine. I'm actually just trying to, talk about this stuff. And then I would save that if I really, really liked that. Didn't really like it, but so when I pop it back in, it's going to be the original way that it was earlier. I'm going to load up. Let's do like Dark Rift, right? This will be the last one. This is almost a 30-minute video. This is ridiculous. So save that stuff. This is more of like an N64. So hopefully it pops in here soon. Please. Oh, it crashed. Okay, so RetroArch. Let's see. Bear with me for a second. Run. Let's see if it runs. Did it work? No, it keeps crashing. That's really interesting. It hasn't done that before. I might have like set it up wrong. Well, anyway, so let's do like crazy. I can't do Crazy Taxi because of the audio. Let's do like NFL Blitz, or actually Project Justice. Flycast, and then download the thumbnails. Hopefully is it still? Yeah, it's popped up there. Good. Okay, and then we'll download the thumbnail again because it'll pop up on the right from now on. There we go. So Project Justice, run it. Get that super iconic Dreamcast nostalgia right there, man. It's like a drug for real. Okay, yeah, because I don't have a save. This is the first time I ever fired this up. So it's, you know, it's searching, but it's telling me there's a memory card in here, so that's good. Because there will be settings that you can go to kind of adjust if it has like the rumble or if it has a memory card or if it has both. So we're just gonna kind of skip through that. I'm gonna take a look at how this looks, just so I know. You know, we'll just do like a free mode. I don't even know what that means. Where's like the main dude? Okay, so we'll just hit her up. Where is that dude at? Cyber dude. He's in Marvel vs. Capcom. Is that him? How do I not know where he is? Is this him? This him? Why does that look like him but it's not him? Huh. This is crazy. Oh, okay. Whatever. I think it was Hayato. He's wearing a different uniform in this game. So this game does not look terrible right now. It really, I could definitely play this game. I could definitely feel this vibe. I might not even adjust it. I will, for the sake of this video, just to kind of show you what Flycast has, the opportunity of Flycast has to do things. But so like core options, these are all going to be different from the last one because it's a separate emulator. It's a separate core. So here, once you make the changes, you can save for that specific game or the whole content directory. And then we're here, video. So what do we got? TV composite. We can switch that to VGA. That's going to add us a little bit of, we'll keep it NTSC because that's what the emulation, the ROM is. So composite, switching that. Okay, and then, so it still looks good, looks fine. Go performance. So is this gonna say, okay, we got threading on, that's fine. Video, is there a way to buff the texture upscaling? So that's on that I would turn that on for 2D video games. There has to be a way. Oh yeah, native. Okay, so here, this is where it's gonna get kind of weird. We're just gonna go up to like this, 1440. This is 2.25, the internal resolution. This may end up looking kind of funny for you guys, just because OBS doesn't really know how to process things all at once. Okay, so there it is, popped up. I might have to change the properties. Oh, I can't change it while I'm obviously recording. Okay, that makes sense. So now we're here. It's got a little bit more smoother content to it. The stuff in here, it looks more like a modern game. We got a little special there, or look, grapple, whatever. And then I would just go into shaders too, because some of the stuff like on-screen overlays, like a lot of the stuff you're never going to use because it doesn't really affect you. Obviously, if there's multiple discs, you would load a new disc for a specific game. So they have that stuff for like the Swan Station and things like that. The controls, you can adjust and remap your controls. Do it in this specific menu, the sub menu, not in here. Because if you do it over here in the main menu, like on this main area here, and you readjust your controller settings through here, it's going to change it for everything no matter what. What you want to do is do it in the quick menu for this specific core and make sure that it saves it for this specific core only. Otherwise, you could end up kind of having to restart the whole thing and delete your configuration files because it'll always fire up and it'll make you like if you accidentally make it so you don't have a D-pad, like you won't be able to move anything around. It's happened to me before on like Anbernic devices. It's like, what the hell? I made it so I don't even have a controller. And even if I plug something in, it doesn't end up working. So we'll just go with another shader here because this is typically what I would do a CRT. We'll just do the same one I've been doing, just as an example to show you that you can pop it in. So then now it has that little like bubble effect, like you're playing on thing with a slight scan line effect. And then again, if I want to save these settings, core options, manage core options, save them. I adjusted like the internal resolution and stuff like that. And then here you would just go save preset and then save game preset. And then every time you go back up to here, close content, you would go back to you know, your history, what you just played, Project Justice, boom, it'll load it up with that, you know, upscaled, whatever it was, two times, or it was 1.5 or something, and then go into that CRT overlay, or what, I think it's an overlay, it was filter or whatever. It gets confusing. Game Boy Advance, we'll just do one more. I know we're over 30 minutes, nobody's ever gonna watch this, but we're gonna do like FX maximum velocity, because this game, and then we're gonna download the thumbnails again. Here we go. I've never actually played this game. I mean, I own it, but I don't ever play it. It's in my collection. So here we go. What? No. Like, I just want to play. Alright, okay. Oh. Cool. We'll do the fireball. Pawn. Beginner. I think this should be the easiest. I'm not gonna like race at all. I'm not like I said, there's no experience here, but I just wanted to show some settings to kind of, and racing games are usually pretty nice to kind of mess around with the settings on. So I'll just get into it to where it's like I'm actually moving around. And then we'll go here, core options, because this is a Game Boy. So this was Game Boy Advance, not Game Boy or Game Boy Color like it was earlier. And it's not PlayStation, Dreamcast, or N64 like it was earlier. This has separate settings for all of these options. So there's not much here. It found some of the BIOS. It has a grade scale. So I guess this is probably the Gambate. Maybe not. Super Game Boy starters. This is if we were playing Game Boy games on this, which we're playing Game Boy Advance games. So some of this stuff, maybe performance, that's just for frame skip and stuff. Just don't really mess with that unless you really know what you're doing. So again, here you could change the controls for this specific one. You could turn on Turbo Fire. Like if you're having a beat 'em up game and you're doing fighting games, you can adjust that. So when you hold down a button, it's instead of like a shoot 'em up. Screenshots, recording, streaming, add to favorites again, because that's on the main screen also. And then your overrides here, anything that you're making adjustments to on these things, you can override and save that. So cheats, shaders, and again, so we can apply handheld shaders here. So like, what is this? GBA color, motion, blur. This probably isn't actually going to look good because I think it's for, yeah. So this is terrible. That was, I think it was for the Game Boy Color, not the Game Boy Advance. So that was my bad for, oops. That one's going to look terrible too because that is not good. So handheld, let's find like a Game Boy Advance one. Dot matrix. Okay, so this added kind of like an original Game Boy style to it, but kept the color. So that, like, to me personally, I would never use this. This doesn't look better than what it was originally. So we'll go in, adjust that again, and we'll like scan lines. Where's the handheld? There it is. Okay, we'll try to find one that's Game Boy Advance dot matrix that we just did, DMG. So when we were in the Game Boy, it's gonna have these settings also in there too, like you saw with all these things. So let me see. Visual Boy Advance, is that what? With motion blur, slang. It's VBA, right? Isn't that VBA is visual? Oh yeah, see, that looks terrible. It's like really dark, and I don't think it's meant, that specific one wasn't meant for the Game Boy Advance emulator. It's like Game Boy Color. So this is like a 720 LCD screen. This one looks terrible too. That's kind of funky. It looks really weird. So there's a lot of junk. I mean, you know, people developed these, so for me to call it junk is kind of disrespectful, but at the same time, it's like, it's not something I would ever use. So handheld, let's try to find something that's just like Switch OLED. What the hell is that? Oh, wow. So they're like emulating the Switch OLED's appearance. This one's actually not bad. It like brightened everything, kind of added some contrast here. Yeah, I could definitely rock this for sure. Huh, interesting. But yeah, I'll just like kind of quit out, get back to the home screen, do a little outro here. I'm sure nobody's gonna watch this, but I really wanted to make a video, long form content discussing RetroArch and the things that it's capable of doing in like kind of a basic level, not a really, really deep dive into the things, but like everything that you do in life is going to take practice in order to get good at it. So like me doing this made me way better at understanding the things. And I had a couple slip ups. Like, I don't know why N64 was dropping out every time, like crashing, making RetroArch crash. So all I have to do is kind of remove all the N64 stuff, make sure that the settings for that specific core are back to basic, reload it in and try to like troubleshoot that, maybe look up something online. So it's a time consuming process. If you have an N64 and you prefer playing retro games on original hardware, like I have an N64 with a box full of games that I hook up to this CRT TV, but like if it's something, it's always there. It's good to have the option. So you want to play it authentically on a CRT, yeah, with the controller and stuff. But if you want to emulate it and have it pop up and then kind of emulate that CRT experience and do it like all on one monitor, so you don't have all this stuff, more of a minimalist setup, like you can do that too. And it's fun to just kind of tinker. Like, doing this was really enjoyable for me. To talk for like 36 minutes straight about this stuff was really, really enjoyable. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate anybody who ever stuck around to watch the very end of this. I think I'm at 27 subscribers right now. If you hit that subscribe button, maybe I can get up to 1,000 eventually, try to get this channel monetized. It's no worries. I'm not saying I deserve it. I'm not saying that, you know, if people don't subscribe that I'm going to quit or whatever. It does not even matter. I'm doing this for fun. I love video games and it's always going to be fun for me. So yeah,